We've been talking travel agencies over the last week or two and asking whether physical travel agents actually have a future. And the reaction we got was fairly divided. To further debate, pleased to welcome to the studio Manoj Khimji, MD of the MediaVantage. Good morning to you.
Morning, Malcolm. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. The reason that you are the right person to ask is that your company is the regional representative for Skyscanner, and you're a Metasearch engine, which is an online travel agency, but one step up, isn't it?
Exactly.
Sort of mass bookings, etc. So, in one way, you're the right person. In other ways, you might be coming from one side of the fence or another. Do you feel, as a Metasearch engine representative, that traditional travel agencies are on the way out, that their days are numbered?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't quite say that the days are numbered. I think that they have seen a diminished market share in terms of their percentage of the total global travel market, which has obviously declined with the rise of online travel agents and metasearches. I think it's very poignant to know that there are still there's huge areas for them to still expand and grow and develop, and elements of travel which online travel agents and metasearches can't fulfill ultimately.
Because with a Metasearch engine or with an online travel agency, it's a fairly limited conversation that a customer like myself could have with them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, typically for anybody who consumes using an online travel agent or a Metasearch, they will look predominantly at flights and hotels. Right, people come on to Skyscanner and to other sites for that matter to look for inspiration. So about 80% of our traffic actually comes for inspiration and ideas of where to go, what to do, and what have you. But fundamentally, they're coming on to look for flight routes. They're looking for connections. They're looking basically to have a complete snapshot of where they can go, how they can go, and when they could go.
And while we're seeing fewer travel agencies around, there's a new one just opened up in the shopping centre near me. There is obviously a future. Some people feel there's a future, and physical agencies can differentiate themselves by high level of customer service, having a very personal service, having a physical presence to ask questions to. How can online travel agencies differentiate themselves? We can see that physical agencies can do things differently, but how does an online travel agency look good?
Look, I think that's a multi-million-dollar question, because I think that's the area that online travel agents have really struggled with over the last 20 years. If we go back to the year 2000, when OTAs and Metasearches started really coming to the forefront, one thing that is generally accepted that they failed to do is to differentiate their offering from one another and provide really significant USPs to a consumer.
If I go on to, I've got a whole bunch of sort of websites that I can go to, whether it's booking.com or Cheapo Air or whatever it is. There's a lot of choice, and they all come back with roughly the same ideas.
Yeah.
But because physical agents are trying hard to survive and will work hard to keep customers, they can sometimes work a better deal than an online agent. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely in terms of packaging.
Yeah.
And being able to add on, transfers, transport,
but you
tour
don't
guide.
think so with just flights?
No, because I think the flights have become very much a commodity, and it's very, very price specific. I think when you're talking about the bricks and mortar travel agents, they've really gone into two directions. You've got the ultra luxury concierge type services, which many people like using, and then you've got what I would say the ones that have gone much more mid-market and are looking to work for corporates, MICE, large groups, families, things like that. People
who would benefit from going and sitting in front of a travel agent rather than sort of booking 20 seats through an online agency.
Exactly.
To get the sort of the right hotel, the right transport options.
Exactly. If you could have a group, it could be a family group of 30, it could be a corporate group or a MICE booking of 300, and you've got people coming from all over the world at different times on different flights and trying to arrive in the same destination, and that's where a bricks and mortar travel agent can add significant value over an online platform.
Suggesting that they therefore have a future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, some of the Emirati families travel in large groups in the summer.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they will travel there with very specific travel requirements on a specific type of class of travel to stay at a specific hotel in their chosen city, and a travel agent can cater for that very well because it's a manualized process. Online travel agents and meta searches are effectively automated processes, which is where they can pass on a lot of cost saving and benefit to the consumer.
And they've got to try very hard now because they used to get 7, 8, 9% commission from the booking of flights, which they don't get anymore. So they're having to try very hard. But you think there is a future for them, at least. How do travel booking habits differ from market to market?
Quite significantly. I mean, so broadly speaking, last year, 86% of US travelers researched their trip online. Okay, whether that was a flight, a hotel, and that was a research, not necessarily the booking of that trip, but certainly the research for that trip, compared to the low 60% in Asia. So there is a difference, and I guess it's a shift in growth of habit towards using OTAs in different markets.
I mean, as somebody who represents a metasearch engine, the Skyscanner, which we all know do studies, and let me ask you the old chestnut, if I may. Are flights really cheaper on Tuesdays? It's the one thing that everybody says, isn't it? Book for a flight on a Tuesday if you possibly can. Is it true?
Look, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm particularly qualified to give a definitive answer, but yes, the data points that Skyscanner does. So Skyscanner, any other meta search engine, and OTAs, what they effectively do is they data scrape from a whole range of sites across the world, right? And I mean, I could list down for you now 80 or 100 different OTAs around the world. And what happens is these meta searches, they scrape the data from all of these sites, and that's why they provide you with the best possible option. So, you could even book through a meta search through an OTA as opposed to directly to an airline. So they will pick up the key data points. So
the reason I'd heard this was that a lot of the airlines clear out their data, or they put new offers on Monday evenings. Therefore, on Tuesdays, you get great offers. You don't buy into that?
No. Look, I think that the data points suggest that that's probably true. So yeah, I guess staying up late on a Monday night might pay off if you can book first thing on a Tuesday morning.
Have you got any other tips for us? How can we get the best deals?
I think the best way to get the best way to get a good deal is to use a meta search, because a meta search comes a layer above the OTAs.
So how would as an individual, I would go onto a site. Mm-hmm. How do I use a meta search, or is that just using a meta search?
It would be using Skyscanner or any similar product. And what Skyscanner does is it takes pricing data, which is dynamic, immediate API integration data from OTAs, as well as bricks and mortar. So that's an interesting point to note, that bricks and mortar travel agents are still using OTAs to promote their services. But ultimately, it's about getting a route to market, a route to the consumer.
Well, we thank you so much for coming in and talking about the future of bricks and mortar travel agencies. It sounds from what you're saying is that they do have a future, the mice market and the group travel being one particular option for them. Manoj Khimji, MD of the MediaVantage, representative of Skyscanner, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Malcolm.